Welcome to day one of the 5-day nervous system retuning immersion. I'm really grateful to be here with you in this. My name is Lauren, and I am sharing with you a synthesis of over 14 years of devoted exploration in the fields of sound and how it impacts our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. I'm very excited to be sharing with you over these next 5 days a process of how to befriend our nervous system, how to understand our own unique nervous system. We are all working with a different one out there in this world, and then exploring that, how we fit together with each of our own unique expressions of that. So this next 5 days is really about understanding where you are, being able to map your nervous system, and coming up with things that are going to support you in your own unique approach and expression of your nervous system and your life. I am excited to share with you the breakdown of what is really happening in the nervous system from day to day, state to state, and how we can impact that through different techniques such as using the voice, using sound, and moving our bodies. If on the surface you've been feeling that you're getting by and that you can do the daily things, and yet underneath you're feeling a level of tension and instability, this can be a nervous system challenge, not a mindset challenge. You might be thinking all the right things and attempting to do the right things, and yet you're still really feeling this undercurrent of tension. And that can be a sign that the nervous system is not getting the support that it needs. So we're not going to be fixing you in this 5-day series. This is also not a reset. It is an exploration of a process of how to retune, and it takes a lot more than 5 days. As much as I wish I could just sell you with 5 days and everything's great, that's just not how the nervous system works. It took you years to get where you're at right now, and it's going to take some time to retune, to come into a different state of resonance and vibration than just 5 days. However, you can make a big impact in over 5 days, learn a process that you can then apply in your life and see long-lasting results. Let's dive right into understanding the nervous system. Polyvagal theory is an amazing approach to exploring and deepening the understanding of the nervous system. So we have, according to polyvagal, 3 aspects of the nervous system. And this is something that really surprised me. Our brains scan for safety 5 times a second. That's not something that we can control. That's something that just automatically happens. And it will base any experience off of previous past experiences that are happening in the now based off the past. And so it is so important that we have awareness of what's going on, of what this alert system is detecting, and then using our awareness, our presence, to recalibrate, so to speak, those safety or threat alerts to say, actually that used to be very that was a dangerous threat in the past, but right now I'm actually safe, and doing processes to support ourselves in that. So we'll talk about how to do that in future videos. So there's 3 parts. We have our safety, our connection. This is when we're in what's called the ventral vagal. This is in our prefrontal cortex, our most evolved part of the brain. We're feeling deeply connected and safe with ourselves and other individuals. This is a really beautiful place to be. Then below that, we go a little bit deeper into previous versions of ourselves and our development, and we have what's called the sympathetic part of the nervous system, and this is what prepares us. We are seeing an alertness, and we're preparing to fight or to flee from a situation. So we are kind of in that more sympathetic, activated part of the nervous system. And then we also, below that, our most primitive parts of the brain come online in nervous system in dorsal ventral. And this is when we're in shutdown and freeze response. So this could be, basically when an animal thinks it's about to die and it freezes and everything becomes really stiff in the body. Now that is an absolute life-threatening danger. Now the problem is that might have been something in the past that was life-threatening, and your body makes this decision without you. This is not a cognitive choice. This is something that the body, and this is where it's befriending, because your body is so intelligent and is here to take care of you and support you. And sometimes it gets the signals tripped up. So this is why we need to be an active participant in our day-to-day life and in our present moment, so that we can tend to the body's cues and alerts system and really choose whether that is something we want to continue and engage in, or to do the practices I'm going to share with you to pivot that. And this is where the retuning comes in. And this is where the daily repetitions come in of really, we call it like repetition of regulation, so that we can go from one state to another state. And they kind of call this a ladder, going from that place of safety and connection to going to an alert state of sympathetic, to this shutdown state of really like ultimate threat. And we're going to learn how to identify these different spaces and how to shift from these spaces. I hope that is helpful. And we are going to dive in now to a practice in and around this concept. The first practice we're going to dive into on day one is the practice of humming. Now, this is hands down my absolute top practice that I use every single day to help me regulate, come back to my center, come into the present, really come into my body. And so there's a whole book on the humming effect. You could really dive into how this scientifically really works well. However, I would really encourage you just to give it a go and explore for yourself how it impacts you and your state. So the humming, when we hum, there is a nerve that starts at the bottom of the brain, and it goes all the way down to the perineum, and it touches every organ. It's called the vagus nerve. Now this nerve is getting a lot of hype lately because nervous system well-being is now more front and center, and I love this because this is really how we regulate. And cognitively, we can only do so much. We're a mind and a body, and so the nervous system speaks in the language of movement and is integrated into the body. So when we hum, this nerve gets stimulated because it's attached to the vocal folds. So when they resonate, so does this nerve, and then this nerve becomes stimulated, and that stimulation helps it to regulate and to build resiliency in your system of being able to enter into that ventral vagal space of safety and connection and socialization. Now, a fun fact is that if you imagine yourself humming and hold your throat, and then if you let go and hum, you're actually going to feel your vocal folds in your throat resonate both times. So you can imagine yourself humming, or you can actually hum out loud, and both are going to work. Because maybe this feels a little outside your comfort zone, you're not sure where to do it, you don't want to do that when you're in an office meeting. So I invite you to just imagine yourself humming, and to also, when you're in an environment you feel safe in, to hum in that space as well. So we're going to really just place a hand anywhere that feels grounding for you, perhaps over your heart or your belly, and if you can, taking a big breath in through the nose and then letting out a low sounding hum. Relaxing the jaw, and just see where you're feeling that vibration in the body. Keep this going on your next inhale at your own pace. if you can, through the nose and out. If you want to close your eyes, then we're going to do a few more of these. The invitation is to keep this going for 2 to 3 minutes. So keeping that breath in your own pace, humming as long as it feels comfortable. If you can, relaxing the jaw, keeping yourself going. Now, the lower the pitch that's comfortable for you is going to help stimulate this nerve even more. So inviting you to play with that. And if we can, softening the belly, where we're not rigidly tensioned when we're doing this. If we can let just 2% more tension go on the exhale when you're humming, that's a win. Keep yourself going. We're almost there. Really feeling the sensation. And if you want to explore and go a little higher, you can, but I really do encourage to see how low you can go and how slow you can go on that hum, exhale, softening, bringing breath in, if you can, through the nose. One more in your own timing, in through the nose. Amazing. You can keep going if you want. Really finding your posture, feeling into how you want to move. Maybe you want to move while you're humming, doing this while you're doing the dishes, while you're driving. There's so many ways to add this into your day, and a couple minutes per day is going to help regulate the nervous system, strengthen that vagus tone, and that's the vagus nerve governs the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's when we can get into rest and digest. That's when we're in the ventral vagal. And even though it does control the shutdown dorsal ventral, by doing this, it's going to help us move from that more shut down, immobilized space, or the fleeing and the fighting space, into a more centered, calm, present state. So I really invite you to explore this, to add it into your day, continue to add it into your week in different environments, and see how you feel. And just taking a breath right now, if you can, noticing, is there any difference? Even if it's 2%, how is your mind? How's your body? And just noticing. Maybe you want to make a journal about it and see where you're at before, how long you did it, and then how you feel afterwards. And just starting to build a curiosity and an experimental, open-minded mindset around these practices that you'll be exploring over the next 5 days. Thank you so much for joining me in this, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video.